बात किए थे।
किस बारे में? अच्छा हाँ, वो रोड का जो बता रहे, हाँ बात हुई उनसे। एग्जैक्ट डेट कमिट कर पाना तो अभी थोड़ा मुश्किल है, पर है सब अंडर प्रोसेस ही है। जैसे ही इंफॉर्मेशन आती है मैं सबसे पहले
देख रहा है विनोद, अंग्रेजी बोल बोल के कैसे बात को घुमाया जाता है।
All jokes aside, I know that this is one film that is very dear to the people from Odisha, as it comes as a light at the end of the tunnel in an industry that has mostly been subjected to mediocrity. I will definitely be doing my due diligence and catching it today so that I can share what my experience was watching the movie. One of the main reasons why I haven't been able to catch the Odia film is because of just the plethora of catching up that I have done with movies that were recommended to me but I just could not catch, so this is a video dedicated towards the top 5 movies that I saw this weekend and I would highly recommend to all of you. So without further ado, here is Trident Reviews Productions with top 5 powerful non-Hindi Indian movies you need to watch and celebrate now. Number 5 goes to Virata Parvam. A film that has been long overdue in my watch list was Virata Parvam, starring Rana Daggubati and Sai Pallavi in lead roles. This movie had a forgetful run at the box office and was marred with controversy due to the statements of Sai Pallavi in interviews. The environment around the film portraying the Naxalite influence in the Telangana region was mostly negative owing to the press that surrounded it, and the quality of the film was discussed by just a few. As the movie dropped on Netflix, I was very curious about how the director told the tale of star-crossed lovers in an environment saturated with violence and conflict. We follow the life of Vanilla, played by Sai Pallavi, who is heavily influenced by the writing of Ravi Shankar, a Naxalite leader played by Rana Daggubati. How Vanilla's journey transitions from admiration to being an active part of the movement forms the basic storyline of this bittersweet film that I would highly recommend to all of you. The film is beautifully shot in real location and is mostly inundated with grays while being surrounded by nature's beauty. A case of portraying the catastrophic events versus where they are taking place. Sai Pallavi is her vulnerable best, and Vanilla's wish to pine and yearn for Ravi really resonates with all of us throughout the journey. Virata Parvam was another reminder for me of what an underrated performer Rana Daggubati is, and while most of the attention to his commercial venture went to other actors, there is not only a solid but a versatile actor within the man who deserves to be seen in more roles. Suresh Bobbale's music further enhances the intense journey of this film, and you would be made of stone if the concluding moments of this film don't absolutely break you. A Telugu film I believe most people did not venture into exploring because of the controversy surrounding it, but which I would highly recommend you catch on Netflix. Number 4 goes to Har Har Mahadev. If there is one industry that doesn't get due attention for the knockout films that it is producing this year, it is Marathi cinema. For partly my fault, I haven't explored Marathi cinema this year beyond catching The Disciple, which was a heartbreaking tale of an artist and the brainwashing that follows when one is obsessed with the art form. With movies like Pawankhand, Zombiewali and Dharmveer, one can easily see the quality of storytelling that is mostly going unnoticed. Har Har Mahadev, based on Baji Prabhu Deshpande played by Sharad Kelkar, focuses on the battle of the 300 Maratha soldiers against the 12,000 Bijapuri soldiers. The standoff is iconic and an integral part of Indian history, where the Maratha Empire had finally squashed their differences to understand that they should unite for one cause. A lot of people will argue in the comments that they prefer Ajay Purkar's portrayal of the same character in Pawankhand, but I would argue that this film added another layer in really portraying the warrior and the father. The motivating factor of the warrior beyond just being a patriot, but to be admired by his own kin. This nuanced portrayal of a man in battle definitely enhances the quality of the movie beyond the basics of how an army undertook the mammoth task of facing such an onslaught. Of course, there are demerits to the film, where I would like Marathi cinema to work on its color grading so that each frame does not look amateurish, that it strays away from its over-the-top action sequences and its caricaturish portrayal of villains like Siddiq in this film. But my god, does this movie deliver on the drama, especially the evolution of the relationship between Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj and Baji Prabhu Deshpande. The music by Hitesh Modak, especially to witness in theatres as it assisted the action sequences, was a spectacle to say the least. And this one is definitely one storyline from our history you don't want to miss. Number 3 goes to Love Today. If you want to talk about a film that threw off even active and loyal Tamil film fans so much that they went with zero expectations to theatres, almost expecting it to be a sexist portrayal of modern relationships, then it has to be Love Today. A film directed, written and starring Pradeep Ranganathan is one of the biggest surprises you'll see in 2022. A film that has to go down as one of the best edited films of the year, for the sheer inventive creative decisions it takes from a screenplay point of view. The film focuses on a couple being put to the test before marriage as the father of the girl instructs them to switch phones for 24 hours. If they still accept one another after the stipulated time, then he has no qualms against their union. A rather simple storyline is told with such a creative gusto and energy that you are bound to get organically drawn to its skill and form. Everything from the opening credits, the dramatic hypotheticals that the characters come to, or even a shift of the aspect ratio the moment there is an advent of a dramatic tone. The creative editing choices are top notch. Nothing beats, however, entering the app of Instagram as you get a line of simps in the DMs willing to do anything for a morsel of attention. Love Today is one of the only films that accurately represents the generation obsessed with social media at a time where most filmmakers only exude boomer energy in portraying the same. The population dependent on smartphones and the very thought of your activities being discerned and analyzed providing a glimpse of your real personality sends shivers down anyone's spine. You would assume that the film will transition to blame one sex for their circumstances, but it's way too nuanced and clever to reduce its quality to that. A film with great performances by the lead pair of Pradeep and Ivana, but Yogi Babu really won my heart with this film. Even though the form of the film takes a backseat in the second half to focus more on emotionally impactful moments, the resolutions presented in each subplot truly make you leave the theatre with a smile on your face. This one really was a breath of fresh air with respect to the rom-com genre. Number 2 goes to Appa. A film that took me on a conflicting and emotional journey that I did not foreshadow and that I would highly recommend to all of you is the Malayalam film Appa that is available on Sony Live. Nothing is as inevitable as death, but there is also nothing as conflicting and complicated as this eventual outcome. So is the premise of Appa, a family fed up of a bedridden patriarch who seems to be as useful as a rotting vegetable but has no plans of leaving this earth anytime soon. The plot slowly progresses in understanding why the family is so perturbed by his presence, why there seems to be a vested interest in his life, and how one deals with the relationships that are tied by blood but are based on a foundation that is toxic and vile to say the least. Sunny Wayne puts forth such a powerful and heartbreaking performance, a son desperate to distance himself from the genetic makeup but is helpless in performing his moral duty. There is such a tug of war between what is morally right versus what needs to be done that you empathize with him from the word go. Everything from a grieving and suffering mother, a conniving and shrewd sister, and the one glimmer of light in his life, his loving wife and beautiful son, all are put to the test every hour of the day to simply endure for the sake of family. The psychological toll and slow simmering anger portrayed through the screenplay is bound to engage you, and this film successfully portrays such a complex relationship with a dark humor I can only equate to Tamil and Malayalam cinema having the ability to master. You don't want to miss this underrated gem on Sony Live. Number 1 undoubtedly goes to Jaya 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 Hey. One of the most loosely said terms on social media regarding films is when something is called a masterpiece, and I don't fling this term around just for the sake of it. But Jaya 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 Hai is a masterpiece and there is no question about it. You wonder about films that have tackled the subject of toxic marriages and domestic abuse, and you think about films like Darlings, Ammu and The Great Indian Kitchen. And this film surpasses all of them in my eyes because it balances the tonality of being hilarious and emotional perfectly. A film focusing on the life of Jaya, played by Darshana Rajendran, who due to unfortunate circumstances and family pressure is married off to Rajesh, played by Basil Joseph. The abuse and turmoil that follows in the marriage forms the storyline of this film, but the commentary and ultimate arcs provided by this film act like such an icing on the cake of not only being socially relevant but thoroughly entertaining. I was in a packed theatre with a Malayalam speaking audience and the theatre was erupting with laughter, especially in the first half of the film. The film starts off with a song describing the ideal woman, having traits of being calm, polite, demure and delicate, all a foreshadowing to the irony that will follow. The film's quality was already understood by me when the director replays the same sequences with a different context to highlight how a girl's choices from the onset of her life were never really hers to begin with. Jaya never really has the reins demands of her own life. Her college opportunities are narrowed down dependent on the time that she can reach back home. The film provides a hilarious take of posers who present themselves to be egalitarian feminists who say all the right things to check off intellectual boxes, but in reality are just the scum that they themselves criticize. I haven't laughed this much in a long time, whether it be the icebreaker conversation between a couple being about the price of chicken, the hypocrisy of strangers masked as relatives who bawl their eyes out on your vidai as if they really knew you, or the hilarious commentary of Indian TV serials in the background that act as an ironic take on the abuse taking place in the household. The film is a masterclass in balancing the comedy and drama. The film is so adept in its storytelling that it takes such a wacky creative decision that you actually start wondering whether it was a hypothetical in a character's head, only to be blown away by the fact that the events are actually taking place. The hooting and cheering at this moment was deafening, and it caused mass hysteria in the theatres. The film breaks down the notion of what it means to be a man. It highlights the gaslighting tactics of your loved ones to belittle your trauma. It showcases the institutionalized sexism that makes women become each other's enemy, and finally concludes with possibly the most hilarious court proceeding I've seen in a long time. Darshana Rajendran is flawless in communicating the traumatic journey Jaya undergoes, but Basil Joseph, the director of Minnal Murali, is the absolute star in portraying this sorry excuse of a human called Rajesh. I can't recommend this movie enough to you. It's available in select theatres, and if you can't, it should definitely be the first film you catch when it drops on an OTT platform. It truly is a masterpiece. And that was a video, guys. Write down in the comments below whether you have some video ideas for our channel. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.